Late night happy hour on a Tuesday. It's Cofield. Alex Crawford's here. Big Mac. Hey, you know what? Take sports away. Take sports away. What just happened? Golden Knights in Vegas last night go down in flames. We'll get to that later with Big Mac towards the end of the video cast. And, man, there aren't a lot of tried and true Clippers fans. Look at this jabroni up in the right corner. He is very, very sad. I'm not going to mock on him, even though I called him a jabroni, because I'm sort of a closet Clippers fan from time to time. Dude, that was rough. What just happened?
I don't know. I actually don't know what happened. Like, I had a FaceTime. There's three of us. There's three Clippers fans that I know
in the world.
And I had a FaceTime after, and we were just like, what can we do? What are you pointing at, Cofield?
It's LeBron. LeBron's looking at you. Like,
oh, God.
All right, motherfucker. All right, you talk shit all year. You got on my boy. This is LeBron. This is Hat LeBron saying it. There he is. Hat LeBron saying, dude, you need to send a message very sorrowful to Nick Wright. You talk shit about Nick Wright all year.
I do talk shit about Nick Wright.
Nick Wright is the right stuff. It's embarrassing.
I tweeted at Nick Wright, and Nick Wright is objectively good at his job, but he has taken he's taken the troll stance. He's taken the anti-Clippers, pro-LeBron troll stance, and he's right this time.
This time. It's the Clippers, Alex. You're the Cleveland Browns of the NBA. Every preseason, it's talk. Every regular season, things go a little bit well. There's talk. You get some players, there's talk. But 30, 40, 50 years of results tells me everything is the opposite. The Clippers are the Clippers. Until they prove that they're not the Clippers, they will be the Clippers. And it's been Alex, the last time we saw each other, I think it was 2 weeks ago. You were off last week. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I picked LeBron and Anthony Davis. We did the NBA Jam matchup. I said the Lakers were the best team in Los Angeles, the best team in the West. And year after year, people want to put the Clippers there. I don't care who they have. It's still the Clippers. Steve Ballmer, still the Clippers. I mean, I feel bad for you. I know you're a fan. I mean, I feel the second city or the second team in the big city. I'm a White Sox fan. I feel like there's some similarities there.
No, there is. Yeah, White Sox fans, Mets fans, Chargers fans, Nets fans. We're in the same group. But this is what's tough about it. And this is why I guess I'm sad. I'm more so just deflated. I'm over it. I really don't know how I'm going to watch sports in general for a couple days. And NBA, I really don't know how I'm going to watch the Western Conference Finals. Because I've had that circled on my calendar. I literally not at the start of this week, but last week, looking ahead to this week, had written out the dates of the Western Conference Finals games on my physical calendar. I still keep a paper calendar. I had written out the dates so I could plan to watch. And for me, this is what it is. I don't know what else the Clippers could have done roster-wise, off-season moves, coaching. It's just, for me as a fan going into the season, every box was checked. I was like, okay, I'm cool with everything. I see who we are, and I think we're one of the top 3 teams in the NBA. I think we have a very good shot at the title. And now I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? What? Kawhi Leonard was supposed to be that guy. And he just had probably the worst playoff game of his career in a Game 7.
Kawhi is not that guy. And I know, obviously the San Diego State comparison, Steve watched a lot of Kawhi Leonard. I know how highly he thinks of him, and I think highly of Kawhi. Like, I really don't want to come on a show, a few hours removed from him being, knocked out of the playoffs. This man obviously has the finals MVPs. He's done incredible things. If Klay Thompson's leg doesn't fall apart last year, and if Kevin Durant isn't injured, they never get that title. The Toronto Raptors are not champions, right? Kawhi Leonard does not win a championship in Toronto. That's just you
can't play the what-if game, though. You can't play the what-if. We could go down.
You can from this standpoint. You can from this standpoint. People are constantly looking at making Kawhi a 1. Jimmy Butler's a 1. Jimmy
Kawhi's
Butler.
a 1.
I don't believe Kawhi Leonard is a 1. I don't believe he can take
but Jimmy Butler is. Okie dokie.
Yeah, that's what I believe. Yes. I think Jimmy Butler
is bias much. Come on.
It's not even that. Jimmy Butler's putting up 50 points with the Chicago Bulls. When he threw that tantrum in Minnesota and everyone was late just dragging Jimmy Butler, I was saying, listen, this is this dude who doesn't want to play with bums. He wants to be the guy. He doesn't want to be overshadowed by anybody. He wants to go to a team and take it over and lead them to a championship. I don't think Kawhi has that. I don't think Kawhi wants to be that. And that's not necessarily a knock against him. Right? It really isn't. And I'm not even saying like when I say he's not a 1. He's not Scotty. Like he's got, and that's not a knock on Scotty. I know it sounds like it is, right? It's not. I'm just saying when you have 2 1s on a team like the Lakers do, Anthony Davis, unequivocal 1. LeBron James, best player of his generation, and arguably
Anthony Davis isn't a 1.
I believe Anthony Davis is a 1.
Did you watch the Pelicans when he was on them?
Well, I didn't say. Okay, so here. You take Anthony Davis and put him on that Spurs team, right, with Toronto, or excuse me, with San Antonio. You take him and you put him on that Toronto team last year. He's a 1. He's a 1 in the same way Kawhi is, right? Like if you want to make that, but I just think he's better. I think he is an actual 1. I wouldn't say he's Durant, and I wouldn't say he's LeBron. I wouldn't say he's an upper echelon top 5 1, but he's a 1. I don't think Kawhi is.
I think that's recency bias to the max because we saw what Jimmy Butler did tonight and we saw what Kawhi did tonight. But I think if we had this conversation even 2 days ago. Even 2 days ago, you'd be getting skewered. So I'll let you have this night, Big Mac. You can have this night.
And that was probably a poor comparison because, as you said, just for what Jimmy Butler did in the same time frame, and then the day Kawhi goes out, I use Jimmy as a comparison. Probably not that fair. And again, it's also not that fair because I do think really highly of Kawhi. I think he's one of the best two-way players in the NBA. Same can be said about Jimmy Butler. They're both really good players. I don't think Kawhi is that guy. I stacked team in San Antonio, did incredible things. That playoff run when he was in San Antonio was unbelievable. That finals was unbelievable. There's a reason he was the MVP, but he had that security. He had that talent around him to get the best out of Kawhi, right? And last year, incredible in the Eastern Conference Finals against Philly to get to the NBA championship, right? But again, if that doesn't happen, with the injuries to Golden State, I don't think he's a champion again in Toronto. So until he actually does have a one-type run where he dominates an entire playoff, dominates an entire regular season, doesn't take games off due to load management. How'd that load management work out, Clippers? Huh? How'd that work out? Like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are the type of players that should be taking nights off because they need to rest their legs. They ain't that good. They're not. And we haven't even got on Paul George yet. And the money and the time and the picks that you wasted to get that squad together.
Let me transition us from Kawhi to Paul George because I will say this. While I'm flabbergasted, stunned, unexpected, I feel like I'm living in a bad dream that I repeat over and over again as a Clippers fan. I guess that's what being a Clippers fan is. But I will say this. I can put the blame for tonight's loss and for the questions and the issues surrounding the Clippers right now on Kawhi due to the fact that not only did he not show up tonight, but due to the fact that reports say that Kawhi said in order to come play in LA for Doc Rivers and the Clippers, he wanted them to bring him his Scottie Pippen. He wanted them to bring him Paul George. So they traded away the entire future of the franchise and the now. Because if we had Kawhi out there tonight, using the we, meaning the Clippers, if Kawhi was out there with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari, and the rest of that squad that would have been on this year's team, plus the future looking bright, I think this might be a whole different conversation. But it was Kawhi who wanted to play with PG. Yep. So it was the Clippers who said, well, and you have to do that, right? You have to do what Kawhi wants to get him to come. So Clippers said, okay, we'll trade away the future. We'll trade away the now. We'll trade away SGA and Gallo. So in that sense, the Clippers had to mortgage their entire future on the guy Kawhi wanted to get Kawhi. So you do it. But even from that day one, PG's. If you're saying Kawhi is a B or a Scottie Pippen or not,
no, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. He's not a B.
If he's that, then PG is beyond. To me, PG's never PG. We want to talk about guys who think they're the guy, but they're not the guy. That's PG to the max, and I've always had issues with him. And so we traded away the future to get Paul George, and he misses about the first half of the season due to injuries. And when he comes back, he doesn't do shit. And in the biggest game with a chance to prove himself, both him and Kawhi don't show up. So that's if I'm frustrated at Kawhi, it's less about what he did tonight, and it's more about how we're now hamstrung in terms of what we're going to do with the franchise because he wanted Paul George, who's never been an elite player like he thinks he is in my mind.
And not only was this a soul-crushing defeat for the Clippers, for their fan base, a collapse up 3-1, right? All that, you're the Clippers, that shadow hangs over you. It's everything that you just said. It's mortgaging the future. It's the mistakes you've made. Now there becomes noise around the franchise, right? And then you start looking at the rest of the season. Well, geez, you talk about, right, recency bias. Let's maybe not play recency bias, but now that they've lost and you look at the rest of the season, how did they look this season? I know you were excited because of the pieces you got, but I feel like the Clippers never actually lived up to their potential. The people expected them to be the 1 seed. People expected them to blow out the rivals. People expected them to handle the East. That never really happened. I never felt like the Clippers were a dominant team. You know what I mean? Not in the way that they should have been.
The only time the Clippers were that team that we thought they could be was when they played the Lakers. That was the only time the switch seemed to fully flip. And other than that, it was a lot of, as a fan, I'll admit, it was a lot of, oh wow, they're look how good they look, and Paul George isn't playing. Or look how good they look, and they're missing Trez. Look how good they look, and so-and-so's out. Look how good they look, and they're load managing. There was always kind of a built-in excuse, even though the Clippers still got the 2 seed, and they still played really well. It still felt like we were always looking at an excuse, but we were like, no, we're going to get it going. We'll get it going in the playoffs. Oh, we'll get it going in the second round. Oh, if we could just win this game 7, we'll turn it on against the Lakers. Well, finally, that whole thing ran out. It ran out tonight, and it sucks. And my phone has been blowing up on Twitter and personal texts and calls because I talked a lot of shit. It was the best team in Clippers franchise history, and on paper, and actually, finish-wise, it's the best finish they've had. They've never made it beyond a game 7 of the second round. So I talked a lot of shit, and it's come back. It's boomeranged right back in my face. So I have to take my flogging.
Yeah, the best Clippers team is still like the 15th best Lakers or Celtics team. You know what I mean? You're still the Clippers in the NBA, and the Lakers are still the Lakers, and LeBron is still LeBron. So as people want to anoint the next GOAT, or people want to look for reasons why LeBron isn't the top player anymore, and you want to throw Kawhi Leonard or anybody else in that conversation, the dude continues to show you as he makes finals after finals. People say, yeah, he's lost, 6 or 7 or whatever it is. Yeah, no, I get that. I understand. I understand he's lost a lot, but he's there every single year, right? And that shows you when the Nick Wright, who's not a troll. Nick Wright just understands what he's watching with LeBron James, which is pure greatness. The unquestionable best player of a generation who is always in the finals, and Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and Patrick Beverley and this Clippers team couldn't get past the Nuggets. And that sounds like I'm digging the Nuggets. I'm not. They're a solid basketball team. Are they Western Conference championship material? I mean, they proved it this year. But
Nuggets.
When you said that the Clippers are a top 3 team, I believe that. This is a huge disappointment, especially in the sense that you're up 3-1 on that Nuggets team. It's a collapse, Alex. It's a complete collapse.
Well, I tweeted at Nick Wright a lot of times, and Nick Wright's boss has come on my radio show in OC, his boss at Fox, because he's a alumni of the high school I went to, so he wanted to come on and do the local radio. And I tweeted at both of them, and I said, when the Clippers win the title, Nick Wright's got to give me his job. Well,
oh God.
Well, the crow sandwich, the crow buffet is open over here. The crow buffet, all you can eat. Shove it down my throat.
You always have the late night happy hour, Alex. We'll always be here for you, buddy.
Thank God. Actually, right when the game ended, I was like, oh, fuck, I got to do the late night happy. I got to talk about this. I want to go to bed. I want to take a sleeping pill and wake up in a week. But now I'm thinking this is actually kind of cathartic. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, no problem. Now, this comment from CJ Cards fans. Both the Lakers and Clippers struggled after returning. Lakers pulled it together. Clippers didn't. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think that's a pretty fair statement. But let's not forget, LeBron James had that Lakers squad in, I think, the number 2 position in the West before he went down with that groin injury last year. Like, he proved with a substandard team without Anthony Davis that he could put them in a position to win. We had just a bunch of hype with the Clippers. We actually had, hey, LeBron with the Lakers and a bunch of young guys, and you had Anthony Davis. They're probably going to be the number 1 seed. That's exactly what happened, right? The Clippers, you don't know. There's a lot of chaos. There is, as you said, the demands Kawhi made. Go get me my Scotty, okay? You've got your Scotty. Now you blow a 3-1 lead to the Nuggets. And the issue is, to an extent, is culture, right, Alex? Like when you talk about the Clippers, it evokes a certain emotion to an NBA fan, right? And I felt for Clippers fans, right? Because it felt like as soon as they blew that lead and you went to social media and you went to Twitter, it was every NBA fan just waiting to attack the Clippers because they are the Clippers. And on some level, the players know that. It's a cloud that hangs over a franchise. We saw it with the Cubs for 110 years or whatever it is. Clippers aren't that bad, right? But, I mean, it's still that sort of, just shitty lineage where you think about your team and you're like, damn, man, we're the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing keeping the Clippers from being that bad and having that kind of Cubs history is that they're on the West Coast where sports teams have existed for less long than they have in the Midwest and the East Coast.
Right.
Otherwise, they would be the Boston Red Sox pre-breaking the curse. They'd be the Cubs. And really, if we're going to point fingers and dive into this, and this is a good tweet that Cofield put. This baffles me. This baffles me as a fan. Several Clippers fans so fatigued during Game 7 against Denver, they struggled to play stints longer than 3 minutes and asked out of the game. How does that happen? I don't understand that. Could someone explain that to me?
What's so great about that is this team spent so much of the season resting their legs.
Yeah,
right?
It's such a bad look.
I was just going to say that. It is such a bad look. It is.
I can't defend it.
It's hilarious. It's Clipper-esque. Like, you couldn't write it in a stupider fashion. Like, oh, the team that rested, that team, the team that rested their stars the entire season, they got tired. Okay. Sorry, Alex.
No, I got to point a finger at Doc Rivers, too, because as a Clipper fan who had his heart ripped out during the Lob City era, where it was, oh, my God, we're actually good. We've never been good like this before. Hopes get up. You get up. You win a Game 7 against the Spurs, which always seemed impossible. And you have Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, and then you have that collapse against the Rockets, and you're like, oh, my God. And you clean house. It's all new players. It's some new staff. Ballmer's still there, but you've grown. You're building a new arena. You've rebranded all this stuff. What's the one common denominator? It's Doc Rivers. He's still there. And I saw the stat they threw up during the game. Only coach to blow 3-1 series leads in the playoffs throughout his career. I don't know what it is. I don't know the X's and O's of what Doc does that causes him to be like this, but he is the common denominator of these blown leads, of these Clippers gonna clip. The common denominator is Doc.
Yeah, and I don't know what I saw Ryan Hill's comment there that this is going completely off the rails. I think the only thing you can argue with is my statement on Kawhi not being a number one. Everything else, mortgaging the future, right? The aura of a failing franchise and a underachieving franchise, right? The laughing stock at different points of the NBA or the Clippers, right? All these things line up, putting blame on Doc Rivers. The hilarity of getting fatigued when you performed load management. Load management, the term, almost exists because of the Clippers. Certainly heard about it a lot this year because of the Clippers. So, I don't see where this is lacking logic. I think this is actually really interesting sort of framing here from Alex, because you're an actual one of the 17 Clippers fans.
One of the 17,
that exist on the West Coast. So,
well, I'll say this: and I can't talk shit back tonight. I got to hang up my Clippers. Like, I can't chirp for a while. I can't chirp for a long time. That's really what sucks, because I love. It's fun. It's fun to ride the wave, knowing that it's probably going to crash. You still ride the wave. You still paddle out. You still go for the ride. But for me, it's very obvious. Everyone hates the Clippers for a variety. People always give you their excuse why. Oh, it's because they haven't won anything and they talk shit. Oh, it's because of Patrick Beverley. Oh, it's because they flop. Blake Griffin whines a lot. Chris Paul doesn't shut up. Chris Paul goes to the Thunder, and everyone loves him. He's doing the exact same stuff. Everyone loves. People hate the Clippers for a variety of reasons, and it does wear on you as a fan. Whether it's the announcers giving, in my opinion, so much love to the Nuggets, or it's that the majority of national sports media people, they are going to hate on the Clippers, and they're going to, ride the LeBron wave, or they're going to ride the Lakers wave, because they're going to get way more fans that way, because no one likes the Clippers. So it's easy to hate on them, because no fan base is going to tune you out. So I don't know what I don't have like a conclusion, just that sucks.
Just maybe, I don't know. I mean, just like Clipper Nation collectively just calm down. Like, I'm a White Sox fan right now. I'm being very cautious about that shit. Yes, best record in the American League. Jose Abreu leading 6 RBIs more than the next closest in Major League Baseball. Rookie of the Year candidates, right? No hitters being thrown. It's exciting. And you know what? I felt really bad, like my heart sank when you were like, I just wanted to ride the wave, man. I just wanted to have fun. And see like a puppy locked in a cage and like one of those ASPCA, like, I just want to go home with you. I just want a good meal. I appreciated that. You know what I mean? And I want to have, I get it, but
I'm not going to quit being a fan. I'm not going to quit being. It's like I'm an Oregon State football fan too. You know, it's like, oh my god, this guy just must be into BDSM and shit. Just like fucking flog me constantly. Constant pain gets me off. But I'll still step into the batter's box. You know,
that's interesting. People hate the Clippers? ? I thought more people hate the Lakers. That's from Jay Lawrence. Now see, that's interesting because I would agree with that. I think more people hate the Lakers, Alex, but I think since you're insulated in the Southern California bubble as a Clippers fan, it probably does feel like the whole world is against you. But I wanted a battle of Los Angeles.
Probably more people a more total number hate the Lakers.
Yeah.
But there's also so many more Lakers fans that it offsets it. There's Clippers. There's I think maybe we're going to go percentage wise or ratio wise. There's a low number of Clippers fans. And then there's just a lot of hate, and it's easy to hate. And there's no fan base there's no Laker fans or Celtics fans or whatever they're gonna or LeBron fans or MJ fans are gonna show up and talk shit. There's just a couple Clippers fans that are gonna maybe chirp and get pushed aside. So I think it's the ratio that's the difference.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think because you do have Bulls Nation, Celtics Nation, Knicks Nation. Yeah, I think people hate Lakers fans. I agree with that, Ari. Again, it's got to be hell being a Clippers fan in Southern California when you got all those loud Lakers fans. I envy that.
They're just the worst, man. They're just the worst.
They got a lot of titles. They got a lot. I was just saying they got a lot of titles. Give me 1 second.
I know.
I want to go grab some water. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry.
All right, thirsty Big Mac.
Do you want to give any credit to the Nuggets since we've done 22 minutes here? Not one good thing has been said about the Nuggets.
Go Nuggets.
They're pretty good, and the Nuggets are going to be good for a while.
Yeah.
So I know we're framing this as they just lost to a bunch of bums, but the Nuggets are a good organization, and they do have a 1-2 punch, and they do have more building blocks. So they're going to be in the mix, and they've been in the mix. They've been building towards this. And by the way, for Lakers fans, we'll see what happens. I think the Lakers will win the next series, but every time everyone looks at some of these teams and they're like, oh, no shot, Bucks, they're going to roll through the East. Okay. Clippers, easy to the Western Conference Final. You're not in the finals yet, Lakers. Not yet.
Yeah, who can guard Jokic? I don't know if AD can. Big Mac, you're muted.
I muted him, sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm really interested. Now what I want to see just as a fan, because as Steve kind of raised the question, you think Jimmy Butler is a 1? Yeah, I do. And I thought he's been a 1 for a really long time, and I really wish he was still in Chicago. And I wish he was building around the culture there and actually putting some, gumption on the floor and some balls. I don't think there's any of that in Chicago. I think Jimmy Butler is a supreme alpha. I think he wants to win a championship, and I think he wants
supreme alpha.
Yeah, I think he wants to do everything by himself, and I think that's why he's rubbed people the wrong way. Some people call it, dickish diva behavior, and some people see what it is, and that's leadership. I saw that dude drop 50-point games in Chicago. I saw him completely take over games against really good teams. His two-way play is damn near unrivaled. He's just never been on a decent team. But now with Adebayo and the rest of that crew that are playing roles and playing to Jimmy Butler's strengths, you saw tonight and then throughout the year what he can do when he wants to take over a game. I would love to see LeBron James versus Jimmy Butler in the finals because I think Butler's been waiting his whole career for that. And I do think that the Heat could put a 7-game series together where they could go on a run and beat the Lakers. I picked the Lakers to win the title. I think the Lakers are the best team in the NBA. But I think Jimmy Butler is one of the most special players in the NBA, and he can absolutely, like a hot goaltender, win a team a Stanley Cup in the playoffs in hockey. I think Jimmy Butler's got that potential here as we head towards the finals.
Yeah, I didn't laugh at Butler being a 1. I laughed at you for saying that Butler's better than Kawhi Leonard.
That's fair.
Well,
Butler has 0 titles.
Yep.
Kawhi's got multiple. And
I would love to revisit
Kawhi carried a solid team with a good coach last year to a title, and I don't want to hear about all the Warriors injuries. Fuck them. They benefited from injuries in the past. Tough titties.
Every year. Every year it happens.
We could do that every year. We could erase most of the Warriors' run. How many times did the Warriors walk into the finals against a depleted team or the team fell apart because of injuries in the finals? We could do that many times throughout history. Kawhi earned that title last year. He's one of the guys who earned the title in San Antonio. The mix on this team wasn't right, and clearly something was wrong in the bubble as time went along. I mean, Doc Rivers was completely exasperated tonight after the game. He's like, I didn't feel like I had any options. Everyone was gassed. I don't know how that happened. I'm not in the bubble. We've seen teams go through bad stretches in the bubble. So it sounds like an excuse. I don't know. We got to find out more about it. I don't know why they collapsed. But clearly they had issues. I mean, when you see a team consistently post 10-point leads in the third quarter, and then they freaking
Something's up.
They gas in 3 of the 4 losses? What the hell? Doesn't make any sense, especially since they got rest going into it, and they load managed before that, so it doesn't make sense.
I can tell you the way that it reads to me is that they believed a little bit of their own hype. They thought they could rest. They thought they could have load management. They thought they could. They believed that they were just going to walk into the Western Conference Finals. They were up 3-1. It all sits in line with that psychology, right? 10-point leads going into the fourth quarter, blown them. 3-1 leads, blown them, right? Kawhi just assuming that he could get his Scotty. Maybe you're the Scotty, right? It's just there's a lot of assumptions around the Clippers.
Well, yeah, and I just think, if we want to put a bow on it, it starts and ends with Doc, because we saw it with the Lob City era with the Clippers. We saw this exact thing, and you have all new players that are a step up, players that are coming in with rings, Kawhi Leonard versus a Chris Paul, and somewhat of a championship mindset, and you still can't handle it. You can't get it done. So for me, I don't know what the answer is, but it does start and end with Doc. Something happened, and it's the blown lead. It's the handling of expectations. Because remember last year in the first round when the Clippers won those 2 games against the Warriors and had huge comebacks, biggest comeback in NBA postseason history, and they were playing loose and they were having fun and they had no expectations. And then you get a Doc Rivers team with expectations, and the sphincter tightens up and you blow it.
Who agrees with Ryan? Jimmy Butler's better than Bron right now?
Yeah, maybe right now.
Anybody? I don't.
I can't. I think LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. He's the best player I've ever seen with my 2 eyes. I can't believe what he's doing and still continues to do.
I would have said it was Kawhi as the best player, but yeah, I can't say that.
LeBron's there every year, man. Taking sorry-ass Cleveland teams there. The first time, winning it with a good Cleveland team, but obviously overtaking that Warriors team. I mean, he's done amazing things. He's just, in terms of individual play, in terms of his body type, his style, his ability to stay healthy, his drive and determination, his leadership qualities. I mean, there's no one like him. So no, I don't think LeBron is better than, or that Jimmy's better than LeBron right now. But when those 2 teams match up, I think the Heat can beat the Lakers. I would still pick the Lakers. I picked the Lakers since day one. I think the Lakers were the best team and we're going to win the NBA championship. But Jimmy Butler is playing like a different individual right now. The guy's got, I mean, you saw it tonight and you've seen it throughout the playoffs. He's reaching another level. And that's what's cool about watching this stuff happen, right? You don't know how good a player or great a player truly is until he finds himself in these sort of situations. So I'm enjoying watching Jimmy Butler play in these really big games, and I hope he reaches the finals against LeBron, because that'd just be a fun matchup. I just want to watch that.
I don't know if I can root for LeBron unless he steps up.
Oh, come on, Cofield.
Unless he steps up and is a real man.
Oh, come on, Cofield.
Contributes to the cause. Come on, bro. Do the right thing. Be a pawn. Play the political game for the L.A. County Sheriff and the Sheriff's Department.
Man, fuck Alex Villanueva. The L.A. County Sheriffs have so many internal problems, well documented for forever, but most specifically under his watch. What does LeBron James have anything to do with a tragic, horrible shooting of 2 deputies over the weekend in Compton? But what is bringing LeBron James into this have to do with absolutely anything related to police work?
It's a political play.
It's terrible. This is, the crowd that likes this from Alex Villanueva and the LA County Sheriffs is the same keep politics out of sports crowd. But they love this. They love bringing sports into their politics. This This to me was such a bullshit move.
Yeah, it's shut up and dribble, right? It's stick to sports. And now you're using LeBron James as you pointed out as a political pot. I'm sorry, the reward money and the money that you pay, Alex.
Okay, keep going. I'm gonna play the audio when you're done.
I was to say, isn't that what tax money is for? Isn't that what the people of Los Angeles County pay for? They pay for, horrific, disgusting cop killers to be brought to justice. It's beyond disgusting, especially when you factor in all the good and the millions of dollars that LeBron James has donated to charity and the stuff and I've said it. I mean, I think I've said it here on the show. That's why I want LeBron to win. I want LeBron to win, like I want Naomi Osaka to win. Like I want everybody with a voice to win. I want LeBron to win 10 years in a row. So every time he wins, he's back on TV with another championship, telling everybody to shut up. I can do what I want. And I'm going to get voting stations put in place in stadiums. I'm going to make initiatives in my community to make it a better place. I'm going to spend this money and make the world a better place. Like,
LeBron's one of the few athletes that's really, really, really doing it and giving it back to where he's from and across the board. And as much as I love to sometimes be a LeBron hater on the court, I'm more of a Lakers hater. Off the court, just what he's doing is the best example of an athlete making a difference. So you should play the audio, Cofield. This move is just like beyond SMH for me.
And it's so transparent for most, if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
p.m. this evening at the Compton terminal of the Blue Line, the MTA Blue Line, there was two deputies who were ambushed by a gunman in a cowardly fashion. They were both critically injured, multiple gunshot wounds. They are currently being treated for at the hospital. This is just a sober reminder that this is it's a dangerous job, and actions, words have consequences, and our job does not get any easier because people don't like law enforcement.
The suspect approached them.
All right, first of all, to me, this is a position where just deliver the news. What's the comment that people don't like law enforcement? All of us don't like law enforcement. Because that is an elaborate setup. It's actually a simplistic setup. It's a simplistic setup. If you ever disagree with what the police department or sheriff's department is doing, then you're anti-cop. Come on, guys. Cut it out. All right? That's cheap shit. And listen, I don't want to see people walking up to police officers, just trying to gun them down, ambush them. But this is a department, and I'm not saying this is justified. This is a department that has had a lot of high-profile issues, and it's an emotional time. But to fire out, no one likes the cops. Well, some people don't. And what's been going on recently with the LA Sheriff's Department, nothing's going to happen with that Guardado kid who was murdered, and then the department is dismantling all the cameras and recording equipment.
They killed that kid. Yeah, they killed that kid.
By the way, Vanessa Bryant had some things to say about this. And but she was like, seriously, clean up your own deal, bro. And this is tragic. Yeah, again, people can't be walking up on the cops and just freaking gunning them down. But there's a lot of us out here who are like, what is going on? What is going on with working with the public? All right? This is some scumbag who decided to go and do whatever they were doing. I don't know what their motivation was. We get it. But there's a middle ground. It's not everyone hates the cops. Or if you disagree with things they do or you call bad cops onto the carpet, that you're anti-cop. This has got to stop. This freaking and it's adversarial against almost everyone.
Yep. And here's
how does that feel? Protect and serve. God dang it.
From behind, as the deputies were facing southbound in their patrol vehicle, suspect came from the north. He walked along the passenger side of the car. He acted as if he was going to walk past the car, and then he made a left turn directly toward the car, raised a pistol, and fired several rounds inside of the vehicle, striking both of the sheriff's deputies.
Well, they're both suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. They're out of surgery right now, so we're going to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. One is a 31-year-old mother of a 6-year-old boy. Her husband is here with them. The other one is a 24-year-old, and parents are here. Girlfriend is here. They're both out of class 437, so they just graduated. And in fact, I swore them into office just 14 months ago. The two deputies were doing their job, minding their own business, watching out for the safety of the people on the train, and seeing somebody just walk up and just start shooting on them. It pisses me off. It dismays me at the same time. And all
right, we get it. We do. Later, Alex Villanueva, sheriff of LA County, did challenge LeBron James to put up $175,000 of his own. I don't get what business he has calling out citizens and asking for money and putting them on the griddle. I don't get this tactic. I don't at all. I don't see how this is going to help things. And it clearly is a tactic. It's not some plea like, hey, this is the richest guy I know. This is
Bruce Wayne. This is the Bruce Wayne of LA. Only LeBron can. That's not. I wish that were it.
And everything is politicized. God damn it. We got to politicize law enforcement too? Enough. Sorry, man. This all disturbs me, and I don't want to see freaking cops who are sitting there doing their job, trying to protect the rest of us, and some putz is walking up there with a gun. But I don't understand what LeBron James has to do with this.
He has nothing to do with it, Steve. And here's the other thing. I mean, you grew up in New York area, Jersey. I grew up outside of Chicago. It was a war zone in the 80s. Cops were being picked off, in Cabrini Green on the south side. I mean, just in Chicago in general. Same thing was happening in New York. There were stories like that, people getting shot in their cruiser. Like, what I don't like to see now is, as you said, the politicization of everything. And then, like, the blaming, like, oh, the BLM movement, the Black Lives Matter movement. It's Antifa. This has been going on for decades. Cops have a dangerous job. This stuff has happened, right? I don't know how much it has to do with Black Lives Matter or the current climate, again, because this is America. This has been happening. But to bring LeBron James into it because he's vocal and active and wanting, Tamir Rice and Breonna Taylor and Trayvon Martin not to get executed in their homes or unarmed on the street. Like, there's innocent black children being executed in the streets. LeBron James is like, hey, that's not good, right? It doesn't equate to, yay, I'm really glad those police got killed by a cop, because that feels like that's what the LAPD is doing here, right? Well, LeBron, step up and prove that you have the backs of the cops. He's not saying he doesn't have your back. I feel like LeBron James has the back of the world. Like, if you're a good person, LeBron James rides with you, right? For the most part. Right? He's just also trying to say, hey, there's a systemic problem. We need to change it. Here's video of the systemic problem. And not only is there video, here's new video. Every single couple of weeks, here's new video. Here's new video. Here's body cam footage. Here's video, right? It's inundated constantly. You have the evidence. The question is, do you want to acknowledge it, right? And Steve brings up a great point. Press conferences like this are adversarial. It creates a divide between the public and the cops. And essentially says, choose sides. Right? Like, choose a side. What side are you on? And here's the ridiculous thing, because I see it right now with the politicization of, as you said, everything in our world. And it absolutely is. It's absolutely everything. But you're seeing like a lot of talk like with Californian pedophiles and Joe Biden wants to legalize pedophilia. Or the left loves Jeff Epstein. No. We all here's what should be universal, right? All child rapists go to jail, and police shouldn't kill unarmed children in the street. Like, there can be universal themes here that we should all agree on. And I don't care who those people are. It's nonpartisan. Like, guys, what the hell is what?
Yeah, it's such a false equivalence because you can look at what happened on Saturday night at the LA Metro Blue Line station in Compton and the shooting of the deputies and say that's horrible. Attempted murder is bad. That's horrible if those are sheriff's deputies. That's horrible if those are civilians. That's horrible if that's the train operator. And then you can also say, I'd like to see accountability from the police. I would like to see the system change. I'd like to see reform. But people in power, like LA Sheriff's Department or LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva, they draw that line in the sand. And they do that. To me, that press conference and this bringing up LeBron James is just the most clear-cut, the most obvious example of something like this I've seen. LeBron has nothing to do with this. It is so obvious what Alex Villanueva is doing. Yeah. And some people will still not see it, but it's so obvious. It's such a false equivalent. I can say what happened Saturday is bad and demand change.
Yeah.
Like, you can do both.
Yes, and you know what's really scary also about that press conference is the verbiage you used and the language you used about like, well, I'm real angry. And quite frankly, I'm pissed off. No, we know. That's you stir up a hornet's nest, right? And that's why go back to the 20s. Go back to any organized crime era. Go to the street gangs of the 80s and the 90s and the Latin Kings and MS-13 and the Bloods and the Crips, whatever, right? Whatever. You don't kill cops because when you kill cops or you go after police, you piss them all off, and then they come pissed off in the streets, right? So now Los Angeles County is going to be dealing with a police force that are looking for a cop killer. I understand that they're angry, right? But it is also important to remember, if you are a cop, if you are an officer, right? If you're a law enforcement officer, to look at the history, to look at Chicago in the 80s, to look at New York, Manhattan in the 80s and 70s and the cop killings. Like, it's a dangerous profession, and we all should know that. This has nothing to do with the current climate. There's just bad people out there that want to do really horrific things. Like, remember the shooting here in Vegas where the cop got shot during the protest? People immediately pointed to Black Lives Matter and the protesters. No, that was just some dick that went down and shot a cop, right? The same thing might be applicable here in Southern California. It's what we've been saying for this whole time. The politicization of abhorrent acts, right? Where they're 100% unanimous. Shooting police is horrific. Shooting anyone is horrific, right? And then also shooting unarmed Black children in the streets like Tamir Rice is unexcusable, right? We can have these common barriers and these common uniters.
Steve, you should show a little bit more, shine a little bit more light on some of the things the LA County Sheriff's Department has done.
Well, I mean, this is Vanessa Bryant very angry over the fact that the scene was never really secure to the Kobe Bryant crash, and then someone probably profited, a law enforcement officer or officers profited by leaking photos, horrific photos of the crash scene. And Vanessa Bryant's like, how can he talk about trusting the system? His sheriff's department couldn't be trusted to secure Kobe Bryant's helicopter scene. His deputies took and shared graphic photos of crash victims. So anyway, Vanessa Bryant suing. That's someone mentioning that, but she did tweet out something today saying, basically, pipe down about LeBron James. Worry about yourself.
Yeah, because here's the other thing. If they go to LeBron, they would have been at Kobe, too. People forget Kobe was outspoken about social issues, right? He spoke about President Trump. He spoke about serious issues, and I think he would have continued that fight. So Vanessa knows this could have easily been Kobe and her family that would have been suffering this vitriol right now, right? People, obviously it's unfortunate what happened with this situation, but it's weird when people pass like that. They like to put them up on this pedestal or imagine them in their own way. And I'm sure there are Laker fans or NBA fans or people out there like, Kobe would never do that, or Kobe's not LeBron. You know, he knew his place. He was a good guy. And it's like, the receipts are there. Kobe Bryant was a justice or a purveyor and an outspoken athlete in terms of social justice. And I'm sure, like I said, Vanessa probably felt that too. She probably took it personal.
Sarcasm or really asking the question? If it's sarcasm, I don't get it. He was a 12-year-old with a toy gun. We've got trained professionals. They gunned him down. That's okay. Comply. 12-year-olds, comply. Put down your toy gun. All right. This is where we are now. Again, everyone's got a side. Everyone's got a side. Hope it doesn't happen to you. Hope it doesn't happen to you. Hope it doesn't happen to you because
Tool's okay. He's white.
I think there's but I think there's a lot of white folks who are like, yeah, we're fine. Like, I don't know, the two white dudes who fell at the the hands of this dipshit 17-year-old, they weren't fine, and the cops around Kenosha didn't seem to be real worried about the 17-year-old with a long gun. So, sorry, whites, you got taken out. It could be any of us.
It's so obvious. It's so obvious what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just, and just on the count, I particularly get heated about this thing with LeBron and the LA County sheriffs is just because even before the George Floyd incident and the protests after that and sort of the resurgence of the Black Lives Matter movement, even before that, I was reading up daily, even before COVID, almost daily in the LA Times, documenting all of the corruption, all of the issues plaguing the LA County Sheriff's Department. It's a known fact. They've got so much. There's so much. So I saw someone in the comments here saying that they needed to clean up their own department, or Alex Villanueva needed to clean up his own department, and he absolutely does. Among their many issues, one of which was, and of course TMZ has LAPD and LA County sheriffs on payroll, but they leaked crime scene photos of and they did. I guarantee they got a fat payday for that, for leaking photos of dead children and adults in Calabasas when the helicopter crashed. But the other issue with the LA County Sheriff's Department is the gangs within the department. That's very well documented. When Andres Guardado, the kid that got killed in Gardena, the reports say that deputy that killed him was gunning for ink. He wanted to get in the gang within the department, and to do that you had to have a kill. So that they're saying he was gunning for ink. There's this culture of gangs. There's this culture of it's not. I'm not making this up. This is well documented. So all this shit's going on all the time, and instead of having accountability and wanting to look inward, which is what everyone's saying, especially people, a lot of the Blue Lives Matter people are saying, well, we all need to be accountable. We all need to comply. We all need to listen to the cops.
Keep going.
Alex Villanueva won't look into his own. It's so obvious. It pisses me off. It leaves me almost at a loss for words, but it's just so obvious what's happening.
Yep. I wish we could, guys. I'm sorry, I won't say this. I'll just say on this. I wish we could stick to sports on some level. I wish we could.
Well, but the sheriff politicized it.
Yep.
And it's a sports figure. And again, I don't see how LeBron James has any involvement in this. This is just smart assery. And again, do your job. But they don't have bosses anymore, so they're going to do whatever they want. So
right.
I don't know.
Play this video, because I've watched this 600 times today, and I want to watch it 601.
Man, if you're a parent watching this, you must be like, what the hell is going on? These kids how old are these kids? What are they, 8?
No. I wish they were 8, because the first thing I saw was the headline from Rex Chapman. It essentially said 6-year-olds playing football. So everybody is 6 years old. And my first knee-jerk reaction was, my God, 6 years old playing tackle football? That's egregious. You shouldn't have that happen. Yada, yada, yada. Then I click play, and then I watch it, and oh, my God, you see number 1. And then I totally forgot anything about, feelings of 6-year-olds old playing contact football. Now I just need to see this kid in the NFL in, 5 years. It'd be 11? Yeah, I think that works. NFL in 5 years.
5 years, okay.
Are you kidding me?
I actually think he's being nice. Watch the next kid, and he gently stiff arms him. If he wanted to, he could have killed this kid.
What is that?
Man, he's just a monstrous kid for his age. It's crazy. He's so much bigger than. I mean, look at him. Look at his block. Look at his block.
Oh,
why is those kids are? Oh my God. They're defensive linemen. First of all, the two kids are running at each other. I think they're the littlest kid in front of him doesn't even know where to go. He's gonna get crunched. He got turned around, stiff arm, cornerback following him. He's half his size.
This is what I feel like watching Derrick Henry. I'm gonna pick Paulie up real quick because I got to take him out. But I wanted you guys to see him on the stream. Say hi, Paulie.
Oh, what's up, Paulie?
He wrecks shop like that running back. All right, puppy. I'm gonna take you out. I'm gonna take him back out, and then I'm gonna join the stream. Sorry, guys.
Well, I don't think Big Mac knows this, but Cofield, I've been spending a lot of time around 7-year-old football.
Yeah, you've been doing the documentary,
not just hanging out, for a purpose.
I was gonna save you if you said it the wrong way.
Yeah, so actually today was editing for our listeners that don't know, or viewers. I'm working on a docu-series about the reigning national champion 7-year-old tackle football team, and they're on their quest to repeat. But so I've been editing a lot of the footage today. We won the tournament down in Arizona, Labor Day weekend. And we actually lost when we were out in Vegas. They lost that game.
Oh, boy. Depressing. I would argue right now with you. I'd start a fight with you as Alex freezes up. I would argue with both of you guys vehemently. And you saw I chose to back down a little bit. Alex, reset yourself. Argue with you vehemently over this video of this kid, because I don't think he's that good. I think he's just big, but he's kind of slow. Big Mac, sorry, dude.
Yo.
There you are.
Sorry.
I don't have a ton of respect for the big kid. I think he's slow. Just a lot bigger than everyone else. But I'm not in the mood to argue, but some shows are. This is a cheesy setup. Did you guys get a whiff of the Houston host who just were not happy the way the whole thing was being executed? And Big Mac, we've all been there. Alex, we've all been there. Did your morning hosts fight ever, Alex? They ever get into it?
Oh, big time, dude. Big
on the air,
time.
on the air, off the air.
On the air a little, but off the air, like I almost saw, like there was a physical altercation. There was some things thrown.
Oh, really? Who? Who were the guys?
Dusty and Cam, Dusty Hara, and then Cam Cleland.
Really? And Cam's how big? Because he played in the NFL, right?
Yeah, Cam's a former NFL tight end, and Cam has a temper.
Oh, really?
There. But one time he got up during a break and threw like a plastic thing that held papers for reads, and he missed on purpose because I know how athletic he is. He could have hit him. He threw that, and he knocked the mics off, and he came in, and he was just like fired up. And then he was like, "Oh my God, this is going to be my last day at the station." And then we were like, "Dude, we're not going to tell because we're the morning show. This happened in the 6 o'clock hour, right. And we're like, no one else was in the building. We're not going to tell anyone, but you can't do that shit anymore." It's like, okay, and he like was kind of like, I think he realized that if you start throwing shit and kind of like physically harming your coworkers, your leash gets shorter.
Yes. So when you're a former football player, when also you hurt your cause.
So yeah, no, we had some. I feel like, is that just like a sports radio thing?
It depends on the shows. I mean, we've had, I would say at Lotus. Go ahead, Ryan. Ryan, yourself.
Yeah, no, I muted myself. No, I was. That's what I've never experienced it. So what you said is like radio. I've never in my life had any sort of relationship like this where like I didn't like clearly what we're about to watch. These two individuals do not like each other. And the dude on the left has zero respect for the dude on the right. And I've never worked with anybody like that. I've always had super professional, relationships. Now I've yelled with Steve and Adam, called them idiots. Like we've screamed at each other. I've been pissed off at certain things and sent Steve text messages about certain things, but never, ever has it even got anything remotely close to this? Because what you're about to watch, like, if anyone called me a bitch to my face, someone's getting fired.
What if it was Bully Ray?
It's going to have to be what it's going to have to be.
Okay. Because, that's your experience is different than a lot of people because you do a lot of split shows. So if Bully Ray is being a dick to you, Mark Henry wouldn't do that. If some MMA co-host was doing that, it's different when you're face to face, and when you start to puff up a little bit and get angry, it can happen. Like I'll give my commentary on in a little bit on people who watch these videos and then start making comments in general about sports radio. But this is 97.5. You can see the banner on the bottom in Houston, and Patrick Creighton is one guy. I don't know the other guy.
Where are you going to trade him? Who might be in the market? Where you might be able to get something, not just, hey, let me throw this against the wall, see what sticks.
Okay.
You make fun of other people for doing that.
Really?
Is this on the air or during a break? Do you know?
I think it's on the air.
This is on the air.
Yeah.
All right. You know what?
You're having a temper tantrum on air, man. Like you're on live air right now.
You don't have to pay attention. It's cool. We'll just do it like you're not here, so you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Then just let me know.
Start doing the show. Shut up, crying, and do the show. You're live on air.
We'll come back. Okay,
dude,
Jason. Now
you're live on air. Shut up and do the show.
Really?
Yes. Shut up and do the show. You're live on air and you're crying.
So
do the show.
You're not doing the show.
No, you're the one telling me to leave. If you want me to leave, I'll leave. But just quit crying. You could talk about this during the break. Do the show. Do it.
All right. Well, if I'm just going to do the show by myself, then yeah. Why are you here?
Do the show. Just quit crying about it. Talk sports and quit crying for 2 straight segments.
Right there. That look from the guy in the is like, all right, am I going to get up and go after him? Because I'm starting to lose it. And actually, I think the guy on the left is ready.
But what's he saying of substance? Like, it sounded like Pat Crichton, the dude on the right, was making a point about the Rockets mortgaging their future or some. It sounded like he was doing sports radio. And then it sounded to me like the dude on the left took offense because he brought it back to him and was like, hey, you're being a hypocrite. You're having a double standard here. You reference something like that in the past. You do this all the time with other people. It seems like the dude on the left got his feelings hurt and he thinks he's way more important than he is. Like, what is this show? Like, why are you getting, yes, you're on the air. Okay. So the way it reads to me, the dude on the left is sabotaging the entire show. Just the guy's making a point. Let him make his point. Okay. He insulted you. Move on. And he's got nothing of substance to say. We're on the air. We're on the air. Stop crying. Okay. Like, what are you saying? Like, say something of substance. I made a point. Come back at me. If you don't have anything to say, get off the microphone, because if you just keep repeating, we're on the air, we're on the air. All right, bitch, why are you mad at me? Like, what is the substance of your argument? Why are you coming at me in an aggressive way? Why are you looking at me like you want to fight? Because if you'd like to, I guess that's what we could do, right? Like, it's just unprofessional. It's just immature to me.
By the way, Rick, did the Creighton play football? I can't figure out his bio. If you know, let's finish this off.
Was that supposed to be funny?
Yes, it's hilarious. Shut up crying and keeping this going on and just do the show.
I'm waiting for the punchline. It's supposed to be
Oh, good God, you're a child, man. Quit being petty and do the show. The show sounds horrible right now.
You're right, it does. And you're telling me about being petty when you just checked out of a show for an entire segment.
No, I started doing the research you asked me to do during the last segment. Out. No, you asked me.
I'm sitting here talking to you, and you're like, huh? What? You don't even have your microphone on.
I'm not going to sit here. It's already been 2 segments of horrible. If you want me to leave, I'll cut off the mic and I'll leave. Just do the show. It sounds horrible.
Hey, I'll do the show. You
Thank you.
We're good.
Okay. Oh, God.
Dude, that's...
I was really concerned about the mic shield. That was... I also feel like the guy on the left is more of a producer sidekick type. That's just the vibe I'm getting. I do love the feel of them being in the same room, but not, or like they're 8 feet apart, but they split screen it. But the guy on the left doesn't have the fancy wall. The guy on the right gets the good treatment. What do you, Alex? What do you think is going on here?
It's just so cringe. Like I think I agree with Big Mac about what's going on, but I still think they're both at fault. Like neither of them is stepping up and ending it. Neither of them is killing it and saying, okay, let's move on. Let's do, because like Creighton or whatever, the dude on the right, he's also not doing the show. Like they're both just not doing the show. And it was hard for me to get through this when I watched it the first time. I was like, this is so bad. Then again, when you're in one of those seats and that kind of stuff starts going down, or just in life, it can be hard to back. I take the bait a lot. It's dangling there, and I might nibble on it.
I mean, you can take the bait, but you have fun with it in the confines of the show. You want to know how I know how the dude on the left is losing? And you're going to play the video here, and I'm going to be super unprofessional and go get my computer charger and affect this show. But before you do, just pay attention to the dude on the left and the way his accent is changing. Like, throughout the course of this argument, the dude on the left is, like, getting more spicy. He's like, all right, Dan. Just turn off your mic. Let's go, dog. It's like, whoa. Like, when people start changing their accent, you know you've lost. Like, Don't puff up on me. Don't start putting some spice in your voice. I will slap the ever-loving shit out of you. And he's essentially bullying him. So play the rest of this video. I'm going to go get my phone charger. Apologize. I'm a complete dumbass.
Do the show. You're still crying. Do the show. I've already cut off the mic.
Show. You're not paying.
I mean, he did say to leave like 5 times. He is trying. He is the lead host. He's trying to do the show. Just leave, dude. That's going to diffuse it. You sitting there is not going to diffuse it. It's not going to work.
Attention. Go do what you're doing. Go have a good time.
Oh, God, man.
You know, go do whatever the hell you're doing. Man. It doesn't matter.
Well, do the show. Quit being a bitch.
Whatever. I'm the one doing the show. You're the one checking out. Have a good day. See ya.
Go on, dude. Do the show, bitch. Come on, you're acting like a little bitch on this shit, dude. That's the most embarrassing fucking radio I ever did. You act like a little bitch right there. Fuck.
And
you asked me for the fucking numbers. I started giving you the numbers. I want to yell at you because you're acting like a bitch today. We're live on air and you're acting like a bitch.
Well, you're acting like a fucking asshole.
That was weird. What?
I actually feel...
Why did Creighton whisper there? By the way, that was a clear sign of domination. The guy got up. He called him bitch like 5 times. Creighton did nothing. So I'm not saying he should have done something, but yeah, that final 20 seconds was very telling.
It's so bad. Again, the accent changing. What you gonna do, bitch? Little bitch? Just like totally. It is complete disrespect. Yeah, I mean, Patrick Creighton does come off like a bit of a bitch. He definitely should have choked him. Steve, you're not going to say it? I'm going to say it. Should have choked him. absolutely eye gouge, spit in his face, open hand smack, something to gain a little bit of your dignity back. I mean, this is horrible.
I like feel for the dude on the left. For some reason, I could just feel it in his voice towards the end. I was like, man, I think his feelings are really hurt. Like, he's like, I was doing the research you told me to do. Like, I feel like, actually, I think Cofield's right. Like, he might be like not the typical co-host or maybe the producer. And he's like trying. He's like trying his best. And Creighton is kind of pulling the rug out from under him. And finally he snapped. I'm feeling for the dude on the left. It came out in his voice there at the end. He's being bullied. Okay.
Well,
I'm guessing a lot has been built up. Again, I don't know the whole story, but I'm guessing there's a lot built up inside the dude who finally got up, and he's been a little frustrated with Creighton for a while. I don't know Patrick Creighton. I know he could be a troublemaker, stir the pot well on Twitter, because I'm usually not gotten by many people, but I read his stuff and I'm like, all right, dude, let's tone it down a little bit. So I could see him getting under your skin.
Oh, I might have to check out his Twitter.
Well, you talk about feeling for the dude on the left. His voice did hit a different octave there when he was already like yelling and calling him a bitch. He's like, I was doing the fucking work that you asked me to do. Like, when he hit that next level, that's when shit got real.
I was like, I kind of felt for him. I was like, oh man, yeah. I think there's some trauma here.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't judge.
Just
judge.
Side note on this. That was posted by the guy who used to steal the Francesa videos and made his life off of Francesa, which sort of irks me because I realize Francesa has lots of flaws and he got long in the tooth and came off like a horse's ass. But what happens with a lot of these videos now, because he lost Francesa and that was his big hook, the Twitter handle. Now he's finding videos from around the country, and one of the things that always gets me is a lot of the commenters are from the New York, New Jersey area, and they're like, what kind of radio is this? This is terrible. Like, guys, you have no idea what you have in New York and how mediocre it is at times. There are good people in New York, but a lot of it is just dog shit. So there's this arrogance, like, how bad is that radio? Your radio is pretty bad at times. if you have to rely on callers for 80 or 90% of the show, it's lazy radio. Like, are you getting paid to do the show, or is, fucking Bill in White Plains? And I can't even remember all the different names. But, there's like a steady set of callers, and it's like, is this really what people want to listen to? Is that good radio? What I like about this is, at least there was some passion. I would have liked to have seen what the sports argument was, because we never really got the sports argument. Yep. And I'll defend most radio people. Yeah. In a lot of cases, whether it's producer, host, sidekick, host, you're with each other every goddamn day. So when people are like, be professional, do you know how annoying it is to talk to the same person every day? And shows are built on debate and arguing and disagreements. Yeah, sometimes it's going to spill over. Doesn't mean it's a good show, but at least like there's the formula, the natural energy is there to potentially be a good show. So that's my slight defense of what I just saw. I don't know the backstory.
Stop being a little bitch, Steve.
But I'm not immediately going to look at it and go, these guys suck. No, there's probably, if they have explosive moments like that, there's probably some potential.
Good show potential. GSP.
They don't kill each other first.
Yeah.
Dude had a forearm tat. Looked like he had, I don't know what. It was a very, very scary tattoo. I would have been, as soon as he stood up, it would have been on. I was like, I can't risk that. He's got an arm tattoo.
What's funny about Left Coast Mike with the Francesa nostalgia? I really was never a Francesa fan, but you see how much I like radio, and I have respect for the craft. And he, the guy overextended at the end. He shouldn't be doing a solo show. His ego was always out of control, and he got old. It happens. He got old. Unfortunately, it unfolded on live radio in the biggest market in the country on video. That was the worst thing to come along for him. Doing it just on audio, no one would have ever grabbed the audio. Like this guy's a lazy shit. This back after this guy, he's not going to grab anyone's audio, right? And audio doesn't work as well on Twitter. So now that he got the video, it was like, gold. Now we can show Francesa falling asleep or being all distracted or humming and stuff. So bad timing for Big Mike.
And I think we also should give credit to the way that video ended. We kind of glossed over it, but Pat Crichton whispering that this is bad fucking radio at the end, trying to hold on to the semblance of professionalism that was left in that segment. Like the F-bombs had been dropped, the whole shit had been ruined, but he still had the presence of mind to kind of mumble his final curse words before everything, went off the air. So, props to Pat Crichton.
Yeah, he did. I think he was like, this is total bullshit. I don't know why he did it. Yeah, he was holding on to the last semblance of professionalism, but he still said it. He just said it quietly.
Well, he had been deballed on, live stream. So I don't know. He felt that was his push to gain some of his dignity back. It didn't work, but
I know on this radio story, I'm going to be totally on the wrong side of this. I will get crushed.
Yes.
I will get crushed.
Hey, Steve, by the way, speaking of crushing, I don't know if we do this on this show, but I did crush you in fantasy football in our late night happy hour league.
You did. Ooh. With Josh Jacobs. And weren't you mocking me for getting Saquon Barkley for so much money?
Yeah, I think I was.
Oh boy, and he was not good.
Now you're putting a premium on Saquon. Okay, all right, I like it.
Well, you know what? He did exactly what I said he was going to do in the NFL, which is he is an up and down guy, and he had one of those games where at one point Barkley had 15 carries for -3 yards. That was my whole point when we argued about this. When in the draft, I just said he's a unique guy because he's going to have a lot of runs where he gets nothing. Like his big game, he's going to have 5 big games a year. He's going to pop some massive plays, right? He'll pop a 50-yarder, he'll pop a 35-yarder, and have a big game. But there's going to be 10 games where he has a lot of losses. Which, if you're an elite running back, you got to find a way to get yardage. By the way, the guy who freaking violated me was Las Vegas' Josh Jacobs, and that's who Alex has, because Josh Jacobs may not be a guy who you're going to see bust out 60-yard runs, but 1-yard runs and 0-yard runs are often going to turn into 3 and 4, and it may sound like nothing, but it's a big deal because Josh Jacobs is always going forward. He's always finding a way to squeeze through a hole. Is he better than Saquon Barkley? Not yet. But Barkley also plays behind a shit offensive line, so that's a big problem. All right.
You talk about him always running through and always going downhill. The versatility isn't there yet, but when I watch Josh Jacobs, he reminds me of a young Matt Forte for the Chicago Bears. For those who remember Matt Forte.
Wow, throwback.
I see some similarities there, especially in terms of when Forte, his rookie season, he was a pretty solid force. He took leaps and bounds in his second year. I think we're going to see that in some regard with Josh Jacobs. I think there's obviously real promise with Jacobs, but I think talking first team All Pro is a possibility. He's good, man. He's really good.
All right, this header and the subhead says the whole story. So Chicago radio host Dan McKinnell suggests that Maria Taylor's outfit was more appropriate for the Adult Film Awards show. NFL sideline reporter, he said on Twitter, NFL sideline reporter or host for the AVN annual awards presentation. He was fired. I don't like to see this. Again, I will defend most radio people. I looked at this and I was like, well, it was boorish. It was a stupid joke. Don't be a jerk off. Fireable offense seems strong. But, man, when Twitter gets all mobbed up and, women feel some power now, and especially women in sports because they have been treated like shit, I think as much off the air or at their workplace as anywhere else. But they're fired up, man. And they got behind Maria Taylor, and this thing developed real quick. When you're talking about a tweet at night during a game, and by midday the next day, this guy was on the one of the big stations in Chicago and has been part of legendary shows there. Fired.
I know. You said finally women have some power. Or, the Me Too movement, all that. I mean, women didn't get Dan McKinnell fired. People caring more got Dan McKinnell fired. Right? Like there is an attention being paid to misogyny, to sexual harassment. I mean, because that's what this is. These people are colleagues, essentially, in the media. It's a systemic problem. And you know that, Steve. Anybody who's worked in any sort of office knows it's a problem. My whole thing with this is, and I know you referenced the legendary shows, and he's been a part of that station for a long time. And I just go back to Francesa. A lot of these quote-unquote legends and old whites have been resting on their laurels for a really long time, and I'm sick of people making excuses for them. Oh, they're legends or pioneers. They were part of historic broadcasts. I don't give a shit. You can go find another mediocre white guy to go do that show. And I'm not talking about myself, right? You're replaceable. You're replaceable. And we treat these people like they're not replaceable, like they're the only one capable of doing the job. The same thing happened with Pierre Maguire last year when he made that joke about the with the Olympic gold medalist next to him, and he was mansplaining the game. Get him out. Like he's good at his job, but he's not so good that you can't be replaced. The same thing happens with Dan McKinnell. Go find a different voice who isn't an asshole.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, it's low-hanging fruit's not the right term, because like low-hanging fruit implies that it would be a good joke or even applicable. It's just like, man, what are you even doing? Like, that's not even a good joke. She's not even dressed like she'd be hosting I've watched the AVN Awards, like it's not even in the same ballpark. The whole thing it's just terrible.
Compared her to a sex worker. And I have nothing against sex workers. I have the utmost respect for sex workers. You know what I'm saying? Like, for all that. Like, they're unfairly labeled. That's another part of this equation that pisses me off, is that, like, you're equating sex work to, like, I get the stigma that is attached to it, but that's another thing that I don't like about this. But again, this is workplace harassment. This is sexual harassment. I mean, you work together in the media. If he does this and he tweets this about her, what does he say about the people in his office? What does he say? You know what I mean? And it's like you said, Alex, what was going through your head to hit the send button? You know what I mean? To even take that stance, to even hit send on that. It's
out of touch for sure.
It is
so out of touch.
It's long time locker room humor, guy humor. It's systemic, man. We're trying to stamp it out.
But it's like this particular example, and a lot of these are, because I can actually still get down with and laugh at some locker room guy humor.
Sure.
Like, I am not immune to it at all. But this was just like a very bad, like, it's not funny. Like, it's not funny. And it's, like you said, Big Mac, comparing her to a sex worker, not that that's a bad thing. Because I actually, if I want to get on my political soapbox, very pro sex work is real work. I know you guys are more down with that in Vegas legally, but what has she had to face, or what has she had to overcome to get where she is in this male dominated world? Like you were saying, Cofield, how was she treated not only by fans and whatnot, but in the workplace? So to be brought down by someone who's supposed to be a colleague, it checks a lot of bad boxes. I'm curious why you defend it, Cofield.
And also, Cofield, before we throw to you, all those factors play in. Also, a black woman. So, I mean, take the adversity that she's faced in her career, I'm sure, just as a woman, then factor in the fact that she's an African American woman in media. It's a shitty situation to be in, and I'm sure she's faced more than enough in her career.
Someone was asking, would Francesa survive saying this? Yes, he would.
Yep.
And the only reason McKinnell is gone is they do believe he's replaceable. He's had more than a few chances. He's made mistakes in the past, but if McKinnell were earning like Francesa was, then he'd still have the job. Just as offensive is something that went down last week. Listen, does this hurt the female cause in the media by making a comment about their clothing? Possibly. Does what Skip Bayless said about Dak Prescott and mental health hurt people? Absolutely. That was so much more damaging than this. And it's not a rankings game, but guess what? Skip's still working. Why? Because Skip generates. Skip earns. So.
I mean, yeah, just further backing up that most social justice stances that we see from companies are performative rather than actually weighing what what justice they're seeking. Because, yeah, what Dak Prescott said, or just looking over the last year or two at athletes speaking up on mental illness, is going to work wonders. It's going to save lives. And so for Skip Bayless to take that stance and to call Dak Prescott weak or whatever he said is just so backwards. It's a dinosaur take, And like this commenter said, just bringing it back to McKinnell, in order for it to be guy humor, it has to be humor. Like,
yeah,
I'm okay with the hot take. I'm okay with the stupid take. I'm okay with guy humor. I'm okay with like locker room talk, but it's got to be funny, or the take's got to be rooted in something, or it's got to be thoughtful. And what Skip Bayless did was just, it was archaic, really.
Yeah, and you talk about, I mean, if you went into any of my text chats and pulled quotes, I mean, I have horrendous stuff in my text messages, right? But some of that stuff is hilarious. Like guy humor, locker room humor is hilarious, but you keep it in-house. You don't poison the well, so to speak. You don't spread hate and misogyny and stupidity. Now, maybe I spread some stupidity and hate and a little bit of misogyny again in my text messages, but this isn't a public forum. It's absolutely ridiculous. Steve brings up the Skip Bayless stuff. I love that because not only was it Dak Prescott, Alex, you brought up the kind of charge that's being led by other athletes in terms of mental health. Kevin Love, our own Liz Cambage here in Vegas. Like, there have been a lot of people throughout the sports world that have spoken up about mental illness. So, it's really this hot take sort of culture is getting real dangerous. And Steve is 100% spot on. The dollar speak.
But I got some pushback on this. I linked out a story from 2019 where this guy, Dan McKinnell, talked about mental health struggles. And so I tweeted it out. I'm like, I don't know, is there something wrong with the guy? Like, why would he say this? And I intentionally did that because on days where the Twitter mob gets crazy, and I will call this a cancel mob, the cancel mob gets crazy, there's just the overwhelming majority is fuck him, fire him. And it's like, okay, this is a real person. There might be a reason behind him being an asshole and being a misogynist. And then the response I got was like, well, he's of right mind. This doesn't apply. I'm like, I don't know what mind he is of right now. I have no fucking idea. He says he's been diagnosed with depression. I don't know what depression leads to. I don't know if it's inconsistent behavior. You're a dickhead. You're a misogynist. I don't know. Like, I don't think we have answers on mental health. And I guess my biggest thing is I hear mental health used as, I'll use the word, as an excuse in some cases, and in this one, like, there was no discussion about it. It's just he's an old dick. L. Duncan, I think, called him a senior age man, which, by the way, I find that offensive. I'm a senior age man. AARP. I'm 50. So, like, and I'm being a little ridiculous with L. Duncan saying he's a senior age man, but this is what we can get to where things do get ridiculous, and folks are just like, fire him, fuck him. What'd he say? I don't think that's funny. Like, you guys are saying you don't think it's funny. Hey, Dan McKinnell's age group, I don't know how old the guy is, 57 to 73. They may be filled with, that age group could be filled with a lot of boorish jackasses. That's also part of his audience. And that's what they think is funny or they thought was funny. So, I don't know. He may be a royal dickhead. And people in Chicago could tell me, screw him. He should have been fired. But it hits home when I see, it can go like this. Like, can we examine or like look at it a little bit? I get it. It sucks for women. And here's the thing. Men put themselves in this position to now just get destroyed when they say something stupid. So in a lot of ways, it's fair. It doesn't seem fair, but we put ourselves in this position. But I don't know. I try to step back and look at it and like, is the guy fucked up? What's his problem? Why would he say this? I don't know. And believe me, I'm the first one to get, when I see it firsthand, and I know the behavior of dudes I work with over the years who were sexual harassers, just annoying. I didn't have much patience, so maybe I have too much patience here, and he deserved it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's the situation of, kind of like getting one for the team, right? So one asshole gets fired. Was it justified? Did the cancel culture, the cancel mob latch on a little too quickly, and was he treated unfairly? Possibly. You factor in the mental health history, the argument can be made, right? But at the end of the day, how many women have been affected in the workplace? How many women have lost out on good paying jobs in sports radio? How many have been held back because of misogyny? How many are still dealing with it? If it's one guy that loses his job, so the team of, so the team women, essentially, I feel like I'm white knighting here. That's really not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put it in historical context. Hey, go back to the OJ case, which was so interesting about the OJ case, right? The ESPN did that great documentary, guys. I think we all watched it. And they examined the systemic racism in the LAPD and how by the end of that verdict, there was a large portion of the country or OJ supporters that were essentially like, yeah, we know he did it, but we've been watching black people getting executed in our streets for decade after decade. We just felt good to get one on our side, to have one for our team. We don't care. It's just a little bit of justice. I would imagine there's some women sports fans that are feeling the same thing today, watching Dan McKinnell go by. Like, is it justified? I don't know. Was it a liver overreaction? Maybe. But so long to another misogynistic dick. Cry me a river.
Well, go ahead, Alex.
I was just going to say, I think that we could all use a little dose of compassion and thoughtfulness and talking through things. I don't like to both sides thing or say the truth lies in the middle, because sometimes it doesn't. The truth lies where the truth is. And to both sides everything, I think to try to strike the middle ground on everything is a dangerous, slippery slope. But I will say, just comparing this or using another example of cancel culture or the mob in current times, as we've seen statues of maybe Confederate soldiers, or locally here in SoCal, a lot of statues of Father Junipero Serra, who built the missions, were being torn down, or Christopher Columbus being torn down. Well, I saw some places where instead of just going and tearing the statue down, the city said, okay, on next Tuesday, we're going to have a meeting. We're going to hear from all the sides, and then we're going to make a decision. Most instances, they decided to remove the statue, but you actually got locally here in Ventura, you had people from the Chumash tribe come and speak why they thought the J. Serra statue should be taken down. You had some historians who brought up the history of it. Some were for it, some were against it. They decided to remove the statue, but I think everybody got to kind of know why. So to relate that back to things like this with Dan McKinnell is it would be nice to talk through it, or maybe to know, or not like we're going to talk through his mental health issues with him, but to have to just say, okay, Dan McKinnell, you tweeted this, now you're fired. But then other days you want to prop people up and say, well, they're suffering from this, they're going through something, you never know someone's struggle. It would be nice to kind of, I guess, maybe be more thoughtful with things. I don't know how that looks like in this instance. But
and hey, when one door closes, maybe another door opens, right? So for maybe Dan McKinnell, if he does suffer from depression, maybe bipolar, whatever the case may be, if he does suffer from true mental illness, maybe he can make that work for him. Steve, in the combat sports realm, Mauro Ranallo, an outspoken advocate for mental health issues, and who has, documented his battle with bipolar in a documentary on Showtime. Maybe McKinnell.
That is a great example. If Mauro did what he was alleged to have done now that he did like 15 years ago, he'd be done.
Yeah,
because he's a MMA and wrestling announcer, but he's bipolar, so he would fucking just annihilate women, PR people for different organizations, just like out of control. If someone caught that on a video, done. There'd be no examination of mental health, nothing. And it's interesting. Left Coast Mike, I appreciate this compliment. Left Coast Mike says, well, I'd be okay. Steve, we know your stances on radio. You get more benefit of the doubt. From you, I would have no shot. Because what happens is a local host can say something. People around the country, they don't know who the fuck I am or what my stances are. They have no idea. It's like, hey, what's your consistent behavior with women around you and women on the show? Wouldn't matter. Who's this dick? Can't believe he said this. You're out. Okay. All right. That was it. So yeah, be careful out there. And again, for radio people, that's the thing that annoys me the most, is for radio people, and especially guys who are like, screw them. Like, all right. Just realize what you're setting up here. Case by case. I mean, I can see McKinnell. It was crude. It was rude. It's the ladies' first night doing Monday Night Football. The joke is stupid. But let's see what we're setting up here.
She looks like a porn. She looks like a porn star. It's like okay, man. Like, get a better joke. There's a better joke in there somewhere. Maybe workshop that shit. Like, work through that. Like, hone in on the better joke.
We on Cofield and Company today. We didn't. All we talked about was Maria Taylor doing a really good job. I did rip the shit out of these guys' outfits. Not happy at all.
A lot left to be desired. But that's Brian Greasy. Brian Greasy was
no. Greasy's good.
Oh no!
I don't. No, the outfit. That's a nice suit. It's a nice suit. It's well tailored. Levy, I don't. The handkerchief choice. I'm out. And I have the question today on the air: Is the vest too much? Is it sharp? Does the vest only work on trim guys like Louis Riddick? Could Big Mac and I actually rock a vest and we're better with a vest? Like it's a girdle.
You guys with the vest, you look like robber barons.
Yeah, exactly. No, you look like exactly. I couldn't have put that better. Like an old timey robber baron with like a handlebar mustache and a pipe or some shit. Yeah, no, no vests like no. And I'm a master in all things sucking it in and masking your fatness. Vests are not the way to go. Hell no.
220. I'm sorry, I don't know what I was going to say. I was going to say 2020 Boss Hog would be.
Yes, exactly.
You need a white suit with the vest, Big Mac.
You'd look like the spokesman for an old timey sarsaparilla root beer company.
I would. You know what? I would be so good in a white suit. I'd look like Brother Love from the old WWF days because I get so red because I'm so pale. I would look incredible in a white suit just because of how pink I get, and the contrast would be incredible.
Don't be intolerant. Don't be intolerant, Ken.
Yeah,
you know how many shows? Ken says, good night. If we've evolved to fashion, I'm going to bed. Do you know how many shows we've done screaming matches really at the audience and people outside the market about cargo shorts? That's fashion.
You guys love cargo shorts.
Big Mac and I
love cargo shorts.
Yeah. I don't
Number
have
one.
When you're a big guy, there's not the pockets get crowded. You need the leg space for all your gear.
Number one cargo shorts wearing show in America, actually. Everything related to Cofield and Company.
Possibly. Yep. But you know what? I like basketball shorts too, but I'm not wearing basketball shorts into the studio. It's kind of gross. And like I said, we've had issues over the years with sexual harassers. So the last thing we need is those guys walking around in basketball shorts around the women. Idiots. I'm sure they tried it.
Oh my God.
I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole.
God.
I wanted to talk about how excited I was for the weather cooling off that I was going to be able to get to my joggers. I was going to be able to get to my joggers now. We're now entering my favorite time of year. Sandals with socks on and joggers. Well, slides and socks and joggers. I'm so excited.
I don't know. It's tough because I do live in Southern California. It's warm here, but I'm a big pants guy. I'm a big tracksuit sweatpant guy.
Yeah.
Vegas, it's so hot. I love sweats. Like, do you guys wear sweats? It's just so damn hot.
I've been adapting. I don't know. I'm like wearing my sweater outdoors now to like go get the mail. And like I had a 20-minute conversation with my neighbor the other day and it was like 105 and I was in this exact hoodie. And like I realized like halfway through he was like judging me. He's like, "Are you all right?" I was like, "No, I'm good." I think after 13 years I finally changed. Like I'm cold when it's 71 degrees out. I was originally from the Midwest. I used to think 35 was like short weather. My whole blood type's changed. I'm a completely different man.
Wait, Cofield, you're going treasure hunting?
What is this?
Treasure hunting.
Treasure hunting.
What do you mean?
Adam's comment.
We'll do that tomorrow, Adam. That's too much.
Okay.
We got a whole angle tomorrow we got to get into with yeah, it's kind of weird. We had a visitor today and he's like he's going to go explore the Rockies and try to find some treasure. Razorback Scoop with a good memory. I actually did go out with cargo shorts to a remote down by the D in the downtown Las Vegas Event Center, and I had cargo shorts, and I had no idea that in the laundry that a white sock got stuck to the Velcro, and I was walking around for like 45 minutes with a sock hanging from my pants, like my leg.
Like a floppy ear, like hanging out the side of your shorts.
So if anyone wants to jump in right now and go, you are questioning Steve Levy's fashion sense, his handkerchief, shut the fuck up. You're right. You're right.
Whatever listener said that split screen had a real cable access vibe to it, it's so true. But here's what I really don't get as I've been watching the NBA playoffs. The plexiglass between the announcers, they're in the bubble together. They're in the bubble together, and they're standing next to each other with plexiglass. Why? Is it just for show?
Yes, it's about setting an example. It's about showing the rest of the world.
That's not even an example I can follow. Like, I don't have access to the plexiglass in my daily life. Like, I can't set that up.
Okay, it's to other businesses, right? It's do as I say, not as I do. I don't know. It's just the NBA has a responsibility. Okay. They're trying to be responsible. Unless it comes to China, then it's crickets.
Yeah, you don't want them wagging in your face. Look at us. We're in the bubble. We don't have to wear masks. It's like, okay, I get it now. As you explain that.
Wagging it in your face?
I don't know. In the light of Steve's basketball short sexual harassment thing, I don't know if that was the right comment.
Yeah,
we've all three of us have now made a statement that if someone wants to pull this, we're done. We're done.
Are basketball shorts like sexual?
Yeah, wait, I didn't get that comment.
Yeah,
Steve.
Steve, what the fuck, dude? Like,
I think people who I've heard some basketball shorts stories at strip clubs.
I actually have too.
Yeah, so guys will go in not wearing anything underneath, and you can go free ball, and it's a mess.
A girl I know went on a hangout with a guy. I guess it was a date. She didn't think it was a date. He did, and I actually know the guy too. And I guess he was wearing basketball shorts, and he got a very obvious erection on the hangout. And yeah,
there's a lot of creeps out there, man. There's a lot of creeps out there.
A friend, I don't think it's a creep. I think it just,
yeah.
They wear basketball. Now I'm finding out more. You wear basketball shorts on a date. There's a motive behind that, and I didn't know. But I'm learning all about this basketball short world, and I don't like it because I like basketball shorts, and now I feel like I can't wear them. I feel like you talk about the mob. The cancel mob, I think Steve was the single man mob who just canceled basketball shorts in my life. And it's really fucking sad. Yeah, it's really sad.
You're wearing basketball shorts to work at Lotus. It's you. That's a you problem. It ain't my problem. We got a bigger problem. The Bulgarian restaurant, is this the one at Rainbow and Flamingo? So everyone wears tracksuits there? Tracksuits do look comfortable, but I don't know if I can pull it off.
I'm a big tracksuit guy.
I think you got to be slim. And if you're like giant gut guy, it's just a weird look.
I think you got to be slim or huge.
So the elastic pants are a big advantage when you're bigger?
Yeah, you got to be slim or you got to be like Yusuf Nurkic's dad.
Troppin Jones. All right. Troppin Jones, really? Never heard of it. Kent, with the if you're in basketball shorts on a date, you're an idiot.
No, that's the issue. I think she could have got past the boner. I think it was the fact that he was wearing basketball shorts on the date that might have been the real deal breaker.
I'm gonna close. This is sort of a heated discussion here, or heated comment. I just wanted to get your reaction. Keaton Slovis, who's the quarterback at USC, penned a tweet, and I guess ASC also wrote a letter to Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He said, "We have sat by for 2 weeks watching teams across the country play the game we love safely." Man, the sentence structure here is a little weird. "Most schools have a fraction of the resources that our school and conference have provided us to play safely. You are the only thing holding us back. Please let us play." Are you annoyed by that? Is there a missing point by the USC quarterback? Like a what's really going on right now? Because actually, everything has not been completely safe. They've had to postpone a lot of games, and we just heard a report the other day that there's now a total of 75 Texas Tech football players that have tested positive over months now. Like, are they playing safely or not? I mean, they're playing, but do we really know the outcome of all this? And why have there been so many postponed games if everything is safe?
And that's the thing. That's what we heard. That's what we know. Orgeron down at LSU said, "Yeah, I pretty much think that the whole team had it at some point." Well, okay, that doesn't seem like a problem to you with 200,000 dead bodies piling up in our country, leading the world in this pandemic. That's not fake news. That aren't fake numbers. That's dead relatives, families, and friends, right? And now you're hearing reports. And this, again, mind you, I want to be very clear of the teams that are being transparent. When they're coming out and talking about COVID, they're like, "Yeah, our whole team had it." I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's essentially what they're saying. Like, everybody has this shit. Notre Dame's not talking about it. Other schools aren't talking about it, but you know that they have it, right? He's a kid. I'm going to look at him being a kid. He's a competitive person. He wants to play football. I get it. You only got 4 to 5 years. You want to make your impact. And especially at a school like USC, where you've got real blue chip talent, I understand. But as you are being a kid, you need to listen to the adults. Shut the fuck up. 200,000 dead. Listen to the scientists, because you're not one. None of us should be playing football right now because it's not worth one dead life, let alone 200,000. So
when I saw this from Keaton Slovis, then I saw the reaction from some writer named Matthew, and he goes, "I've had enough. I've about had enough of this shit. You could fill the Coliseum with 2.5 times over the number of Americans who've been killed by this pandemic at this point, and the entire West Coast is on fucking fire. Read the room." Like, okay, but
these are college football players that want to play the game, and they're watching 60% of Power 5 schools doing it, And I guess it's just an American thing where we can only focus on what's important to us. These kids are like, well, I'm not going to get sick, so I want to play. They're playing. But then and LSU's like, well, we're playing. Oh, we got a bunch of kids. Everyone's got sick, but we're fine. Well, how many kids that got sick at LSU on the football team got other people sick that maybe killed them? We don't know. We'll never know. But people only care about themselves. So I wouldn't get on my sports writer high horse and say read the fucking room, Keaton Slovis, like because I think he's focused on what Keaton Slovis is focused on, which is wanting to play football. And it sucks that they couldn't come together and have some leadership from the NCAA. Yeah. It's foolish. Yeah. It's foolish to me to even pretend that was an option. But it sucks that they couldn't come together and just say we're waiting till January. We're waiting till spring. They should have done that. They should have done that.
Yeah, we need real leadership in the room, whether it be from the NCAA or from the federal level, right? Just we need more leadership, and conversation can go a long way. And you need to explain to anybody like Clovis or anybody who's, hell bent on getting their season back again, which I understand. I empathize with these kids. Again, 4 years in college, not even just as an athlete, but just as a student. And like partying and having those experiences, like that's a great time in life. To have that robbed from you and taken away. I'm just sitting in my house during quarantine playing video games and doing some radio shows. You know what I mean? These aren't particularly formative years in the way that you have this small window with college. I understand you want to maximize it, but someone needs to conversate with him. He is just a kid. He is a student at USC. There's bigger issues here at play, and I think you really need to put into frame the 200,000 dead. And like you said, Alex, it isn't about you. And I don't know why we have to keep stressing this, because you see it with a lot of these anti-maskers. I'm going to be fine. I'm healthy. If I get it, I get it. I don't give a shit if I die. No, we understand that. You don't give a shit about yourself. You're tough. You're very tough. You're very strong. You're very healthy. You're an American. We get that. But there's a lot of people that, and we don't know how this affects blood type, how some people get it worse than others. We don't know. So until we do, how about you stop being stupid and transmitting a killer disease to people who might die from it? You might not, but other people might. And I don't, for the life of me, it will stick with me till the day I die. This period in time where I watched people be completely devoid of empathy or understanding and get completely caught up in bullshit talking points. And while I'm watching a section of this country, I just saw a dude on Twitter in one of those crazy anti-mask rants compare wearing a mask on his face to slavery. He's like, this is slavery. Like, dude, it's a napkin on your face. I carry one with me all the time now. When I walk into the store, I take it, I tie it behind my head, and I go in. It's a fucking napkin. It is. I don't get it. I know I went long there, but it's just.
I like wearing the mask. I like the mask.
Thank you. You know how long I wanted to cosplay as a bank robber? I've been waiting my whole life to go into a casino with a face covering. I couldn't even go in with my prescription sunglasses. Sir, can you take your sunglasses off? I can never wear face coverings. Now I get to wear them everywhere I go. And also, Alex, I don't know how concerned you are about the upcoming robot apocalypse, but it's something I'm very vocal about, right? As facial recognition becomes more prevalent, why do you think I have this beard? I have this beard so when I do some crazy illegal shit, I can just shave my beard off and facial recognition won't get me. So as the world turns and facial recognition becomes more prevalent, I get to wear a mask all the time. These people aren't even good conspiracy theorists. We're getting it out here, people. We get to stay away from facial recognition. Come on. Be good conspiracy theorists.
I think the masks are sexy. I think that the masks, I see a girl in a mask and I can't tell. It's like the big sunglasses. It's like I can't tell how hot she is, but I'm going to err on the side of hot. And I think for me, when I put the mask on, I feel seductive. I feel kind of sultry. So I think the mask is for a single dude. I think the number of women that I'm, not to be like basketball shorts guy creepy, but attractive women I'm seeing around, I think the mask is sexy.
Funny way to do locker room talk. See, I like having masks because I can't tell if a chick is ugly or not.
There you go.
That's great. That's funny. And that was a natural way to get to something funny. And guess what? We're not going to lose our jobs because we're not dicks.
Get McKinnell on the phone.
Well, we'll see. We'll see when I put this out. None of the stuff I said earlier, when I put this out as you're objectifting women. Okay.
No. I'm objectifying men and women. I'm objectifying men and women.
Steve, of course, Steve ends it with St. George.
Most child molesters love them.
Oh my God.
Beatrix, get off the fucking internet. Turn it off. Someone needs to get a hold of her family and cut the cord. No one deserves to pedophile.
You say
this got serious.
Like pull the plug?
No, just the cable.
Cut the cord or pull the plug?
I'm not advocating for the murder of an old woman. Let's get her. Remember when we used to do bibliographies? You guys remember that shit? Remember when we like see like source papers where you had to go to like actual books and be like, here are facts, right? Here's how I found these facts. Here are the pages where I found the fucking facts. Here's the homework that I did. I was the laziest student. I cheated so much. But I actually worked at times. Like, these people actually went to hard school. They grew up in America in like the 60s and 70s. They did homework like I did homework, and then they just fucking stopped. Then they were like, yeah, Tom Hanks moved to Greece because he's fucking kids, and, Democrats love Jeffrey Epstein. Like, what? What are you talking about? You're all idiots. Every single one of you are idiots.
And we're wearing a mask, and we say, I can't breathe, and then he died. And I can't breathe. When George Floyd was saying, I can't breathe, and then he died. And now we're wearing a mask, and we say, I can't breathe, but we're being forced to wear it anyways. But many.
Do you see? Do you
I'd like a lobotomy. It's really hard to watch this.
Alex, did you hear the confidence in her delivery? Like she was making some profound fucking statement where she was like, oh, I'm so woke. I'm going to lay it in real thick here. I'm going to make these people think.
No, I know. They cut down some trees here in Orange County, and I went to a city council meeting where people were complaining about the trees getting cut down. They actually had a good case. They were 50-year-old mature trees. You should let those be. It's good for the environment. But this old lady started her public comment at the council meeting saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. They cut down our trees. I was like, no, stop using that for your anti-mask or your tree cutting. I need a lobotomy after that. I haven't even watched that video yet. I actually have chosen not to watch. I've seen it every day.
It's amazing.
Steve, can you? I don't know if you can. There's a little girl on there, or there's a little kid on there. Pull up the little boy. Some monster brought their little kid there, and he doesn't believe what he's saying. He's just like put on camera, and he's like, yeah, COVID is a hoax, and it's no worse than the flu. And it's just like, oh man, someone call CPS, please.
Cut the cord, pull the plug.
Oh, here it is.
Look at him.
Look at him.
He wants to cry. He wants to cry.
A fucking video.
Overblown. The flu kills more than coronavirus. Others.
Oh my God.
So bad. They put their kid up to it.
It's so sad, man. It's really sad.
Look at his face. It's written on his face.
That's so sad.
Oops, I booted the wrong stream. Sorry, Big Mac. You're back. Sorry. He's back. I keep screwing it up. There he is. Hold on. He's back.
That St. George video, man. And it's so warm and comforting. I mean, they're basically our neighbors. Anyone within 90 miles of Vegas is our neighbors. So St. George, I feel like that's just down the street from me.
Yeah, that's Vegas territory, bro.
Pretty much is.
Yeah, it was just 2 nights ago? He was a mile from my house at Extreme Manufacturing. That's fun because the 2,000 people or whatever it was that showed up, now they're going to go and shop in our grocery stores and spread their little germs. And yep.
Got Big Mac fired up to do another hour, but we're out of time. Alex, I want you to tell people about what you're doing, especially on the music side at your station. Give a pop, tell them where they can listen. I think Alex's ideas, he's doing some really unique stuff. You can hear he's like, hey, I'm talking to city council people, and he's very involved on that front. And then what are you doing with your? It actually is really creative. What are you doing with your music show, and then mixing in some of this new stuff?
The music show hasn't launched yet because I need to get a couple more sponsors, but I'll plug it anyway for the future. No, but I do the sports show. It's a community station, but Orange County, we're pretty densely populated area, so there's a lot of people in the community. But I do sports show on Sundays from 3 to 5, and then I'm working on getting a music news show Monday through Thursdays 1 to 3. We got to play the hits, or in this case, our station is 60s and 70s, kind of oldies, Motown, classic rock, be good music. But then I want to bring on, city council people, the mayor, principles or something. Just a place where people can get community news that they can't. Because I'm just like you, Cofield, and probably Big Mac. I believe in the power of radio. And I think that as newspapers are dying and people are having less places to turn to for local news, because if you turn on the TV and you get the national news, you get the cable news, you're not getting shit. So I think if we can give people a place where they can get local news and local info and local entertainment, whether it's sports or politics or whatever, I think that's something important. So that's what we're trying to do that. And I'll play some Partridge Family.
I was gonna say hits like the Partridge Family. There's actually a great story about this album, and well, I'm not gonna get into it, but maybe one day we'll tell a story about this album and how it played an integral part in my life and maybe doing halfway illegal things. That's a tease for another show.
I can play the Partridge Family. I can play whatever I want. 67 to 75 is the sweet spot. Anything in there, they're like, have at it.
Sounds like my type of show. I like it.
Yeah, no,
I never listened to the album. There is a story behind the album. I promise.
I can fuck with the Partridge Family.